Hello and welcome. This video is a condensed version of a longevity planning seminar that I recently hosted. As you know, here at Prosperitas, we take care of every aspect of your financial life. A major part of that planning is built around key variables, and one of the single biggest variables we all face is life expectancy. Longevity planning is a passion of mine, because how long we live has a profound impact on how we plan, invest, protect, and ultimately enjoy our lives. In this video, I'm excited to walk you through several important topics. Recent advances in medicine and technology that are changing how we age, practical steps that can help enhance longevity and quality of life, and finally, some key considerations to keep in mind as we move through life together. Why are we living longer? Life expectancy has skyrocketed over the last 150 years. And there's four basic reasons that attribute to that. First being improved healthcare and advances in medicine, improved living conditions and hygiene, improved lifestyle and exercise, and finally improved food and nutrition. According to a report by the United Nations, approximately 316,600 people were over the age of 100 in 2012. With advances to technology, projections for 2050 are that roughly 3 million people will be over the age of 100. There are some projections out there that show that children born in first world nations can already expect to live past 100. Billions of dollars have gone into researching longevity over the last several years, and they're getting results. A study published by the National Library of Medicine showed that reducing the caloric intake of mice by 30% showed an approximate life extension of 25%. And gene therapies have shown to double life expectancy in mice by knocking out two genes thought to be correlated to aging. Other scientists are pursuing rejuvenation technologies. And these are technologies that will allow people to act and feel younger longer. Some are even studying removing toxins from the body that they believe contribute to the problems of aging. Scientists are also learning to construct replacement parts when ours wear out. Robotic limbs are already in use. 3D printed organs and tissues are being developed. And even robotic organs like an artificial pancreas that will automatically administer drugs to control diabetes. Prime Medicine, which is a prime editing company, they have next generation gene editing technology that will have the power to correct genetic mutations in cells that don't often divide, such as those that are in our nervous system. This could provide a cure for a number of untreatable diseases like Parkinson's and Huntington's. They believe, in principle, that they can put 89% of human diseases within the scope of their work. UC San Diego and Jacobs School of Engineering has expanded their research to the aging of diverse human cell types, including stem cells and neurons. During their research, the team studied certain yeast cells as a model for the aging of human cells. They synthetically rewired these yeast cells, which resulted in an 82% increase in lifespan. Neuralink, Elon Musk's company, it's a microchip that's implanted in your brain and is powered by a wireless battery to record neural activity through 1,000 electrodes distributed across 64 different threads. And one of their main objectives is to give people with quadriplegia the ability to control computers and mobile devices with their thoughts. And they actually have gotten FDA approval for human trials. Blue zones are a place on the planet where people live longer and healthier lives than anywhere else on Earth. In fact, there are more people living over the age of 100 per capita in these 5 places than anywhere else on the planet. And research has been done into these zones, which can be broken down into 2 parts: the food they eat and daily activity. Healthy diets consisting of vegetables, fish, whole grains, and fruits. They put an emphasis on family and being active, finding that reason for getting up every day, and socialize. Lots of laughter, and most of these people do enjoy a glass of wine per day. But longevity isn't about cutting edge science. Some of the most powerful tools we have are already within our control. Consistently getting quality sleep, exercising regularly, eating a balanced, nutrient-rich diet play a major role in how we age. Just as important as keeping your brain active, learning something new, staying mentally challenged, and remaining socially engaged all help preserve cognitive function as we get older. Daily movement built naturally into life, strong family and social connections, a sense of purpose, a regular mental engagement process. These habits don't just extend lifespan, they improve the quality of life. With all these advances in medicine and technology, with people living longer than ever, what's your plan? When I speak with most people about longevity and long-term care, the vast majority don't have a clear plan in place. And even when they do, there are often gaps or assumptions. For example, I hear the phrase, "My kids will take care of me more than anything." My very next question is, do they know that? You'd be surprised by the amount of families that haven't had that discussion. What I have also found in planning with my clients is that many families don't actually live all that close anymore. And if that's the case for you, when the time comes for care, are you going to move closer to them? Will you be able to uproot your life in your 80s or 90s? Or are you expecting maybe the kids to uproot themselves and come closer to you? Planning for longevity isn't about fear or being overwhelmed. It's about empowerment. It starts with thinking through where and how you would want to receive care if it were ever needed. Most people prefer to stay in their own homes for as long as possible. But the reality is that care, whether at home, assisted living, or a nursing facility, can be costly. Without a strategy, these costs can put significant strain on both family and finances. The 2024 national median for long-term care costs in the United States, homemaker services is about $75,000 a year. An assisted living private room is about $70,000. A nursing home semi-private room is about $112,000. And a nursing home, your own private room, is about $128,000 a year. And for California, those costs are even higher. Homemaker services in California are about $87,000 a year. A private room in an assisted living facility is about $89,000 a year. A semi-private room in a nursing home will cost you about $140,000, and a private room in a nursing home here in California will run you about $183,000 a year. Why is it important to have a long-term care strategy? Well, it helps protect assets from potentially devastating costs. It allows you to maintain independence. It provides flexibility and choice, and it reduces emotional and financial burden placed on loved ones. Let me walk you through an example and take you over to the whiteboard. This is our hypothetical example here. I'd like to point out that as a hypothetical, this is used for illustration and educational purposes only. But in our hypothetical example here, we're going to assume at age 70 is when we start looking and planning for care. By age 70, in our example here, we've accumulated $1 million. We are also assuming that we're going to get 6% growth every year. And I've highlighted under the word every, because as we know, the market does not return 6% every year. Some years it's up, some years it's down. But for simplicity, we're going to say that we get 6% every year. In addition, in our scenario, we at age 80 have a long-term care event where we're going to start needing care for the next 6 years. at the cost of $100,000. And every year, we're going to assume that there's no increase in costs. Now, I'm doing 6 years because statistically, if you need long-term care, most people don't need it longer than 6 years. However, you may. My grandmother's a good example. She was close to 9. So, 6 years. In our first scenario here, this is going to be our self-funding scenario. Age 70, $1 million, 6% growth every year. So by the time we're age 79, our $1 million grew to 1.8. Okay? Age 80, we have our long-term care event where we're going to need $100,000 a year for care cost for 6 years. So by the time we get to 86, our $1.8 million actually grew to $2 million. So with costs remaining steady, no increase, with growth remaining steady, no increase or decrease, we were able to fund our long-term care and actually grow our overall portfolio by about $200,000. In our long-term care scenario, we assume at age 70, we're going to take $10,000 a year and we're going to reposition that into a long-term care policy. So $70,000, $1 million is what we have. At 79, that $1 million would have grown to 1.6. So a little less than our self-funding scenario. At age 80, we have our long-term care event where we're going to need cost for 6 years. However, in our self-funding scenario, we needed the full $100,000. In our long-term care scenario, the policy is actually going to shoulder some of the costs. So we only need $63,000 a year to cover these costs. So that means by the time we get to 86, our 1.6 million actually grew to 2.4. So by simply repositioning $100,000 in your portfolio for a long-term care policy, we actually finished with $400,000 more. And if you're one of those people that lives longer than the 6 years, we actually now have a larger bucket of money to use for continued care costs. And if you don't, then we have a larger bucket of money to pass on to the next generation. I'm not here to overwhelm you. I'm here to help you think clearly and plan intentionally. Longevity planning is about aligning your health, your lifestyle, and your financial strategy so that as we move through life together, you're prepared not just to live longer, but to live well. In addition, I would highly recommend talking with your family and with your estate planning attorney to go over options. I work closely with some amazing estate planning attorneys, so if you need an introduction to one, please let me know and I can make that happen. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope it was informative and helpful. I look forward to speaking with you, and thank you again for your trust in me.